Unbelievable. Tyreek Hill, 40 plus points. He just scored for the second time today. 211 yards, I believe, or might even be more than that. 11 catches. I mean, you got to be shitting me with this guy. And it really is just the perfect topper for what has been an insane first week one of the fantasy football season. And as I speak to you right now, I still have the same amount of catches as Drake London does this season, and T. Higgins. Craziness all over the place today. Brandon Ayuk was a monster. Aaron Jones, unfortunately, winds up getting injured and not able to build on what was looking to be a really monstrous day. I know for me, I won one of my leagues, and right now I'm slated to win the other, but my opponent has Austin Eckler, and they're going to get back on the field here. So I'm probably going to be favorite to lose going into tonight. And I have Darren Waller. My opponent still has Aaron Rodgers, and I also have Josh Allen. So it still could go either way. But just unbelievable day. And we're going to go through it all. We're going to go through all of the games, all of the injuries. I mean, J.K. Dobbins done for the season with a torn Achilles. Just unbelievable for him. I mean, that's the only – I keep saying unbelievable because it really was just a crazy, insane week one, no matter how you slice it. And again, J.K. Dobbins – coming back from a torn ACL, had a big finish to last season. Looked like he was set to really build on that finish this season as the unquestioned lead back for the Baltimore Ravens. And then disaster strikes in the form of the torn Achilles. So, just unbelievable. Didn't see that coming. There was a lot of injury issues that went around the league today, and we'll talk about that as well. Deontay Johnson. He too came down with a hamstring injury. Tyler Lockett had a concussion scare. Looks like he's okay. A lot of bigger names, over the last 6 hours or so. We're going to get through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the games. And also, let me see right now too. So the Miami Dolphins had scored. So right now they're covering. And I took the Dolphins +3. So if they hold on and take this game, I'll have a winning week, 3-2 with the pick. So I totally blew it with the Steelers, no doubt about that. I won with Tampa Bay getting 5.5 over Minnesota. I thought that was an easy pick. Then the Pittsburgh one, I blew that one. I had no questions asked. I went with Mike Tomlin's history there. The other team that I blew was Seattle. I mean, my God, and I'm sure a lot of people got knocked out already in the knockout pool with Seattle against them. And I took the Baltimore Ravens. It was a little scary for them, against the Houston Texans, but they wound up pulling through. So let's go through this game by game. So let's start with Atlanta and Carolina. Let's do it, right? I mean, again, It never fails to amaze me how this team, and listen, they won the game and they were a good, solid team last year, despite Marcus Mariota at quarterback, can't get the ball to Drake fucking London. Excuse my language. And I own London in one of my leagues. I mean, 0 catches. How does that even possible? How does Mac Hollins have, what did Mac Hollins have? I'm looking here. Mac Hollins, 3 catches for 31 yards and nothing for Drake London. Kyle Pitts, luckily had that second catch, 2 catches for 44 yards. We're doing this again with Kyle Pitts this season with just the listless performances. Desmond Ridder, only 18 passes, 15 of 18, 115 and a touchdown. I mean, come on. Is this really what we're going to do? Wasting these talents? I mean, it's I don't even know what I'm going to do now with Drake London. Do I even put him out there next week? I have no freaking idea what I'm going to do. What a disaster. And it gave me a 0 in my work league. And I'm fighting tooth and nail. I'm still slated to win, depending on what happens with Eckler and the rest of this game. But my God, what a joke that game was. And here's the other thing. Who knew Tyler Algier was going to be the goal line back for the Atlanta Falcons? And Algier, 15 carries, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also caught 3 balls for 19 yards. He was a PPR dynamo today. And remember this. I told you guys, after that Jahmyr Gibbs fiasco on Thursday where David Montgomery was the bell cow back, I said, let that be a sign that I don't think Bijan Robinson will be a bell cow back for the Falcons because of Algier's presence, and that is exactly what happened. Bijan Robinson, now he was good. I'm not taking anything away from him, but it was not in the dosage, the not amount of touch that we expected. 10 carries, 56 yards, 5.6 a pop. He was awesome. Catching the football, 6 for 27 in a score. So Bijan Robinson had a fantastic day on limited touches. But it's going to be a timeshare between these two guys the rest of the year. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's, again, going to come at the expense of Drake London, who I might bench next week. Unbelievable. I should have known not to even bother with him. And Kyle Pitts. Hayden Hurst. Remember I told you guys Hayden Hurst was a sleeper tight end, 5 catches, 41 yards, and a score. I was saying all summer draft, pick up Hayden Hurst. He's going to be the number 1 receiver for this team. Now, Miles Sanders, I was curious to see how he was going to do. And overall, he did pretty well. 18 of 72, 4 catches for 26 yards. So we all know how much he struggled catching the football the last couple of years. But he came through, had a very workmanlike PPR outing. No complaints so far from him. And then nothing else really happening on this one. But, I mean, and Bryce Young. So Bryce Young, I forgot to mention Bryce Young. His final numbers, and there's going to be a lot of brighter days ahead for him. 20 of 38, 146, a touchdown, and 2 picks. So, I mean, listen, he's strong. He's a rookie. It was his first start. I mean, no shock there, if you ask me. So, all right, so Miami's got the ball back. The Patriots have the ball back, too. I gave up on that Patriots game. Yeah, could you imagine if they pulled this out? All right, so they're at 3rd and 1 at the Philly 47. Oh, maybe I gave up on that game a little bit too early. All right, let's move on to Cleveland and Cincinnati. If you own Joe Burrow in your league, you lost today. If you own T. Higgins, you probably lost. Hell, even Jamar Chase. Nothing went right. This was a statement game for the Cleveland Browns. And listen, I said it all summer as well. Deshaun Watson, who's a backup on one of my teams, the value is too good for me. This is a guy who's still in his prime at 27 years old. Dual threat quarterback. I kept saying, give it time. He should be able to rediscover his Pro Bowl passes when he was with the Texans, and he might have found it. 16 to 29, 154, a touchdown and a pick in a driving rainstorm. He also added a 2-point conversion, and he added 45 yards on the ground and a score. I think it was 22 or 24 fantasy points. So listen, that's great. That's terrific in that kind of weather. So Watson, things are looking up now for the Cleveland Browns there. But Joe Burrow, I don't know if he's still hurt. I don't know if the calf was giving him a problem. He was not moving well at all. That was obvious watching that game. 14 of 31, 82 yards, took 2 sacks. I mean, what the fuck was that? I don't even know what I was watching with that game. I know the weather was bad, but Watson had to deal with that too. And Watson is not the player that Joe Burrow is. So I don't know if Burrow was compromised health-wise, but that was ugly. Joe Mixon was the bell cow back again, 13 of 56 on the ground. What did he do in the air? 3 for 17. So it was a nondescript game for Joe Mixon as well. Jamar Chase, 5 for 39. Nothing happening there. I mean, 8 fantasy points. Yikes. T. Higgins, a bagel. I said earlier today, T. Higgins, I feel he's plateaued as a player. And this was just ugly. There was just no other way about it to describe it. Elijah Moore, 3 catches, 43 yards, 2 carries for 19 yards. Amari Cooper, 3 for 37. We know Amari Cooper doesn't play well outdoors or in rain, and he came through again today. David Njoku is a non-factor for 21 yards. So if Nick Chubb can maintain that, then we're good. We're good there. So I think that's really looking up for him in terms of his fantasy value. Yeah, DeAndre Swift, I'm going to get to all that. Riley, I'm going to get to your comments as well. Just want to get through this. And remember, Kenneth Gainwell, whoever that beat reporter was that I had talked about months ago that said Kenneth Gainwell was going to be the guy, well, he was. And DeAndre Swift did jack shit again. And Rashad Penny, we hardly knew you. All right, I want to go on to this Miami game. So, because now it's a final. Big win for Miami. And I took the points, so I have a winning week with the picks. So I went 3-2 with the picks. I shouldn't have done Pittsburgh, but I won with Miami +3. If you guys were following my picks, you had a winning week. So I went 3-2, 1 with Miami, 1 with Tampa Bay, 1 with the under on Detroit, Kansas City, lost with Pittsburgh, lost with Seattle. I mean, Seattle, I don't even know what the hell that was. Down 2 points. Who wins full PPR? I got Diggs, James Cook tomorrow, Pollard tonight. Opponent has Waller, CD tonight, Dalvin Cook tomorrow. Wow, that is tight. A lot of rain possibly for the Giants tonight. I would say based on that, I say you're going to win because of the weather. All right. So, I mean, listen, the fantasy, that poll that I put up there that you guys voted on, that was before the Tyreek Hill did what he did. 11 for 215, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't even know how to describe that. I mean, it was just an out of this world performance. You can say Justin Jefferson, but pound for pound, Tyreek Hill's the best receiver in football. I mean, this is just remarkable what he did. I'm actually at a loss for words. I really am. Jalen Waddle 4 for 78. So Waddle clearly taking a backseat to Hill. That was the arrangement last year. If you're a Jalen Waddle owner, it might be tough to get those wide receiver 1 numbers, the low end wide receiver 1 numbers we were thinking about. Tua Tagovailoa just locked in on Hill the whole game. And the Chargers, man, they are the worst coach team in football. I'm sorry, they are. And that team is going to be held back because of it. Tua Tagovailoa, for all his detractors, the man produces big-time numbers when he's on the field. 28 of 45, 466 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. You can't name me 4 other quarterbacks that are more accurate than him. All right, his accuracy is uncanny. Just a monster performance. I mean, he was fantastic. Now, I know he gets ragged on a lot because he's always hurt, and that's fair. But you have to just appreciate how good of a player he is. He is something else. Justin Herbert, 22 of 33, 228, only a touchdown. I don't get it. I just don't get it. They have weapons all over the place. Mike Williams had a concussion scare. He came back. Austin Eckler led the way, 16 carries, 117 yards, and a score, 4 catches for 47 yards. Keenan Allen, 6 catches for 76 yards. Mike Williams, 4 for 45. But yeah, just craziness in this game. And I knew it was going to be like this. I mean, we knew it was going to be big, with the over-under being the way it was. I just want to check something with the over-under as high as it was. I had a feeling it was going to be like this, and that certainly was the case. All right, I'm trying. My phone's bugging out for a second. I'm going to just see something. Okay, yeah. So he didn't get any more points. All right, now let's move on. So Eckler did not score any more points. So right now I'm slated to win my work league, the one that I thought I was going to lose, and I have Waller and Allen. He's got only Aaron Rodgers. All right, Philadelphia, 25-20 over the Patriots. This was a slog. It wasn't easy. Rain was a factor there, too. Not the best game for Jalen Hurts. 22 of 33, 170 yards, a touchdown, 37 yards on the ground. I think it was 14.5 points. So it wasn't a big day for Jalen Hurts statistically. Mac Jones threw 3 touchdowns, but you're not owning Mac Jones, even in Superflex leagues. Kenneth Gainwell got the start, and the bell cow worked. 14 of 54 on the ground was just okay. And in terms of receiving, 4 catches for 20 yards. So that was a PPR-friendly outing for Kenneth Gainwell, and I picked him up today. He was available in one of my leagues. I dropped Kareem Hunt, who might now sign with the Baltimore Ravens. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens by tomorrow. And maybe like I said, that's what he was waiting for. I really, truly believe that's what Hunt was waiting for, to see who was going to go down today. And it just so happened to be J.K. Dobbins. A.J. Brown came on late, 7 for 79. Devontae Smith, 7 for 47 and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert, bagel. Another prime guy, put up 0 points. Him, Drake London, T. Higgins. What was going on today? And I mentioned this earlier in one of the videos. 7 of the 8 games at the 1 o'clock games went under 40 collective points. Kendrick Bourne, 6 for 64 and 2 scores. Juju Smith, 4 for 43, 4 for 33. You don't want to own any of these guys. You don't want any parts of this New England offense. Ramondre Stevenson, a dud, 12 for 25 on the ground. Ezekiel Elliott, 7 for 29. So, it was about 66-33 in terms of how they split things up. Receiving games, Ramondre Stevenson, 6 for 64. That's more like it. Elliott, though, caught 5 balls for 14 yards. So, not plentiful fantasy points coming out of that game. All right, moving right along. Jacksonville, 31-21 over the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson overall did fine. He had a knee injury late in the game. It turns out that it's not going to be anything. 24-37, 223, a touchdown and a pick. And then he ran for 40 yards and another score. So all in all, and I've been hard on them all summer, this was a good outing. This was a good outing for Anthony Richardson, something to build on. And perhaps the most impressive part and the most intriguing part is he locked in on Michael Pittman. Pittman, 8 of 97 for one score. So will Michael Pittman possibly be the underrated receiver that we all looked past because of Anthony Richardson? All the questions about his accuracy, whether he's going to be able to learn on the fly. Maybe he's just going to completely focus in on Michael Pittman, and Pittman's going to have a good season. He was good last year. He had the quietest 90-catch season I've ever seen. But this was a really encouraging outing for Michael Pittman and for Anthony Richardson for that matter. All right, Calvin Ridley. So, man, this hurts to watch. I mentioned this over the last week. The two guys that I did not get any shares of that I really, really am going to rue the day I don't. One of them was Calvin Ridley. The other was Chris Olave. They both balled out today. Ridley, 8 for 101 in the score. No doubt was the top target of Trevor Lawrence. Zay Jones came in next, 5 for 55 in the score. Christian Kirk, 1 for 9. So all the money they gave Christian Kirk a couple of years ago, he's now clearly taking a back seat at least for one game. Evan Ingram, 5 for 49. So it was Kirk way out fourth in the target tree from Trevor Lawrence, who continues his ascent to an upper echelon quarterback. Lawrence, 24-32, 241, 2 scores and an interception. He's just got to curb those picks. You get like 1 pick a game from him. Travis Etienne, no threat from Tank Bigsby, 18 of 77 and a touchdown. And he chipped in 5 for 27. So that's really encouraging because Etienne wasn't used a lot in the passing game as a rookie, which was a shame because he was a tremendous receiver at Clemson. And Doug Peterson finally utilized him today, both sides of the ball, and it worked out. So Travis Etienne, who I was really high on initially this summer, and then I started to get cold feet with Tank Bigsby, looks like he's in line for a monster season. And listen, he averaged over 5 yards per carry as a rookie. Talking about Travis Etienne, he has high-end top shelf ability, no doubt about it. And this was good to see. Not even going to talk about the Indianapolis running game. You don't want to even bother with that. I know Evan Hull got hurt. Tampa Bay pulls the upset over Minnesota. And I picked Tampa Bay because I don't believe in the Minnesota Vikings. As a Giant fan, I saw the Giants beat them last year without much trouble. This is an overrated team who gave up more points than they scored last season, but somehow had that glowing record. They go down 20-17. And, Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdown passes, 173 yards. That's about as good as you're going to expect from Baker Mayfield. And he brought Mike Evans along. So, listen, I'm guilty of it. I shied away from Mike Evans because of the quarterback situation. But if you look at Mike Evans' history, he's reeled off these 1,000-yard seasons every year of his career with Josh McCown, with Jameis Winston. He's played with some real shitty quarterbacks, and yet he still produces, and he did it again today. This guy is one of the greatest receivers that nobody talks about. 6 for 66 in the score. Chris Godwin did his thing. Short passes, 5 for 51. No scores. He simply does not score, Chris Godwin. But it was a very condensed target tree. In terms of the running game, God, Rashad White was fucking awful. 17 of 39. He only caught 2 passes. If this is what it's going to be with Rashad White, then that's one guy I clearly was wrong about. I really thought there was going to be a lot of dump-off passes. That did not materialize. Scary bad outing for Rashad White. They don't really have much behind him. Sean Tucker was 5 for 15. I mean, maybe they try that out. They're not going to Chase Edmonds. Give me a break. Alexander Madison wasn't good either. 11 of 34. I never bought in on him. I pumped the brakes on him. I know he scored. 3 catches for 10 yards and a touchdown. Big deal. Okay, so he got a touchdown. He was bad today. The bottom line, he was bad. TJ Hawkinson, 8 for 35. A lot of short dump-off throws. Justin Jefferson, 9 for 150. He had 7. I have Jefferson in one league. He had 7 catches for 130 yards at the half, and then only 2 catches the rest of the way. Very disappointing. I felt like, obviously he could have done a lot more. Jordan Addison, Went right into the Adam Thielen role, 4 for 61 in his score. So listen, he could be a wide receiver 3. Clearly he's going to have the opportunity. Kirk Cousins, 2 touchdowns and a pick. That is a typical Kirk Cousins game. Sick to my stomach. Ken Walker and Geno Smith can F themselves. Hey, listen, I told you about Kenneth Walker. I definitely told all of you guys about Kenneth Walker. The Saints took a while to get going. Derek Carr, who you not really want to own anyway. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Man, Ryan Tannehill. They're not going to pull the plug already from Malik Willis or Will Levis, but no touchdowns, 3 picks. That was scary bad. Derrick Henry, 15 for 63. Is this the year the wheels finally come off? I don't know. Jamal Williams, 18 for 45. There was no running going on in this game at all. DeAndre Hopkins, 7 for 65. This was, a typical wide receiver 2 game that we should expect from Hopkins going forward. If Derrick Henry caught 2 passes for 56, that helped salvage things. Chris Olave, 8 for 112. Derek Carr, we saw what he did with Devontae Adams. He fixates on one guy. It looks like it's going to be Chris Olave. Big things coming for Olave. In fact, I'm curious between Olave and Ridley, who's going to have the better season. They're both going to ball out. Michael Thomas, 5 for 61. That was okay. The targets were there. He had 7 targets. 8 targets, excuse me. Not bad. But Rashid Shaheed was 5 for 89 in a score, picking up from his big play finish of last season. So that is somewhat interesting there as well. I'm hoping Michael Thomas, he doesn't separate as well as he used to. I'm hoping that he gets some more targets going forward. All right. So San Francisco, they look like the best team in football. That was crazy how much they dominated this game. Christian McCaffrey, what can you say? He's the best. 22 for 152 and a score, and he caught 3 balls for 17. Christian McCaffrey is just without peer at the running back position. And yes, Algier is startable. He's absolutely a flex, John, 100%. Brock Purdy, 19 to 29, 2 touchdown passes. So Brock Purdy picked up where he left off. It's amazing to me that Mr. Irrelevant, for all this team gave up to move up to get Trey Lance, number 3 overall, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of the draft, is their starter. You can make this stuff up. Kenny Pickett, he's not the answer. I know it's 1 game. He was just horrendous. There's a lot made about his, having small hands coming out of college and whatnot. Najee Harris, 6 for 31. The average wasn't terrible. Jaylen Warren did nothing. Allen Robinson led them in receiving, 5 for 64. Seriously, Deontay Johnson, 3 for 48 before he gets hurt. George Pickens, 5 for 36. Okay. Calvin Austin, 6 for 37. They spread the ball around, but you don't want to own any of these guys. Pat Freiermuth had 1 catch, but it went for a touchdown, 3 yards. Brandon Ayuk, 8 for 129 and 2 scores. Wow. So he was a star of the 1 o'clock games. There's no doubt about it. That was really impressive. And Brandon Ayuk is the best receiver in today's game, along with Mike Evans, that nobody talks about. Brandon Ayuk is that freaking good. He's overshadowed by Deebo Samuel, who was 5 for 55. This guy is unbelievable. He really is. He was in the doghouse. What was that, last year or the year before, for the first half of the season? And you know what? He is fully ascended now to borderline low-end wide receiver 1 status. I don't think there's any question about it now. Bears backfield, Herbert. I'm going to touch on that game. There was a lot of stuff going on there with the running backs. How do I feel about Akers and Williams? Kyron Williams has no speed. He has no speed. I wouldn't even bother. I can't even believe that we fell for that again with Cam Akers. So Washington was solid. I'm very intrigued with him. 19 of 31, a touchdown and an interception. He also ran for a score, only 11 yards on the ground, but he's got a fantasy-friendly profile. Especially in super flex leagues. I think he works as a second guy, as a very cheap option. Would you consistently start Ayuk over Godwin? No question, 100%. All right, so James Conner, he put in a workman, like 14 of 62 on the ground, not bad. In PPR, 5 catches, but only for 8 yards. So, listen, this is what it's going to be. James Conner is going to give you a solid effort every time out, but it's not going to be glowing. Brian Robinson, 19 of 59, 3.1 a pop. He had a scoring catch, his only catch for 7 yards. But Antonio Gibson only got 3 carries for 9 yards. He was not a factor, 1 catch for 10 yards. And this was a competitive game. So if Antonio Gibson is not going to contribute in a competitive game like this, then I'm immediately worried about his flex viability going forward. Zach Ertz caught 6 balls for 21 yards. Marquise Brown only 3 for 28. You don't want to start any Cardinal other than James Conner. All right, Terry McLaurin, 2 for 31. Oh, God, that was bad. I told you all to fade Jahan Dotson. He was 5 for 40, so not really much happening there, although he bettered McLaurin. Who do I pick up or trade to replace Dobbins? That's hard to do. I mean, I think Kareem Hunt's going to end up the starter there, so I would definitely look at him. I mean, you could try to trade for a James Conner or a David Montgomery, because that's about what you're looking at, guys like that. All right. Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, a little bit more than 6 points. This is the new offense Todd Monken is bringing in. Wow. I mean, we know Lamar Jackson is not like, I'm not trying to be rude, but he's not the most cerebral quarterback. We know that. So maybe learning a new offense is going to be a little challenging for him. It was bad against a terrible team, which makes this even more concerning. 17 to 22. He lost a fumble. He threw a pick. No touchdowns. Only 38 on the ground. I mean, wow, that was bad. Him and Joe Burrow right at the top of the most disappointing quarterbacks today. C.J. Stroud, 17 to 22 and the pick, 169. Dameon Pierce, 11 for 38. No show performance. 2 catches for 9 yards. Devin Singletary got 7. So it's probably 66-33, the way they're going to split things up, which is what I was afraid of. Justice Hill, 8 carries, 9 yards. I know he scored twice. He's not the answer. I think Kareem Hunt's going to be signed before the end of this week. Nico Collins, 6 for 80. So you know what? That was solid. That was what we expected. He's the guy that I was targeting coming out of this offense. Dalton Schultz, only 2 catches for 4 yards. Yikes. I thought he was going to get more than that, especially with the rookie quarterback. All right, Zay Flowers. Remember, even though I said Jackson Smith-Njigba was the best wideout coming out of the draft, Zay Flowers was the guy I said was going to be the most profitable, productive rookie wideout. 9 for 78. So 9 for 78, 2 handoffs for 9 yards. We could have something really brewing here with Zay Flowers. Very fantasy friendly profile. He's going to be used on jet sweeps, short throws, especially as Jackson learns the ropes of this offense. Zay Flowers could really benefit here. Odell only 2 for 37. He's barely even worth rostering right now. He's just lost so much. Rashad Bateman, 3 for 35. And, of course, we all know what happened with J.K. Dobbins. Really, really bad situation for him. I feel bad for him. I really do. He's looking for a new contract. I mean, he's screwed. He's totally screwed right now. All right, so Green Bay, Chicago. Let's take a look at the running back situation here. So Khalil Herbert got the start. It was only 9 for 27. All right, not good. He caught 3 balls for 37 yards. Ruscon Johnson, 5 carries for 20 yards, 1 touchdown. And I believe he caught, 6 catches for 35 yards. So, there was a lot of chatter about Ruscon Johnson's eventually going to take over this job. Considering how shitty the Bears played today, they need a spark. This could happen before you know it. So Ruscon Johnson, remember the handcuff running back strategy. If you picked him up for these afternoon games, and he was one of the guys I talked about to pick up at the 4 o'clock games, that's somebody you might want to check out now for waivers if he's still there. Sweet tea. So I put that poll up really when the 1 o'clock games ended. So that's why he's not on there. And I already mentioned it. He clearly is the star of the day. The poll should be changed to who is the second best wideout of the day. Romeo Doubs, 4 catches for 26 yards and 2 scores. He was hobbled. He did the best he could. Listen, Jordan Love wasn't great. He was 15 to 27. In terms of accuracy. He did have the 3 touchdowns. So, when all said and done, the points were there, but he missed some wide open guys. And accuracy was the question mark for him coming out of college. So that's a factor, but he won the game in a landslide and 3 touchdown passes. Aaron Jones obviously had the one that helped him out, the breakaway there. And Aaron Jones, who they barely used in the first half, finally unleashed him in the third quarter, but then he gets hurt. He hurts his hamstring. I hope it's not something that's going to linger. I don't think it will. 9 for 41 on the ground and a touchdown. He is so explosive. And then 2 for 86 in the air with another touchdown. He is a true home run hitter. I'm tired of seeing A.J. Dillon. It makes me sick every time I see this guy on the field. Dillon, how about this? 13 carries for 19 yards. I don't ever want to see this guy again. He sucks. He had a ball go right through his hands, too, in the passing game. You have to – listen, you have possibly something brewing here with this team. A lot of good young talent. You have to have Aaron Jones getting the lion's share of touches. I'm sorry, you just do. All right, so Justin Fields, 24-37. He picked up some garbage time points, a touchdown. He threw a pick. He had a fumble, took 4 more sacks, 59 yards on the ground. Not a great outing. I spoke of my fears of Justin Fields in the summer. Slight frame, injury risk, turnover prone. Lots of fumbles last year. Didn't lose a lot, but he fumbled a lot. He was lucky to get a lot back. If the running is not there, he doesn't have the passing chops to save his fantasy day. That's why I prefer Justin Herbert. That's why I prefer Trevor Lawrence. That's why you could even have made the case to Deshaun Watson. All right? So not a good outing. Very poor outing for the Bears altogether. DJ Moore, who they brought in, 2 catches for 25 yards. Had Jair Alexander. I knew that was going to be trouble. Luke Musgrave, 3 for 50. Had the 1 big catch. Jaden Reed, 2 for 48 before he got injured. But the Bears were ugly today. There's no other way to describe it. All right, Denver. Las Vegas pulled it out. 17-16. Jacoby Myers got banged up in this one. Jimmy G, 2 picks, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Russell Wilson, 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Josh Jacobs, who I told you all to fade, only 19 of 48 on the ground, 2 for 23 through the air. It was a complete bomb of a game for him. He doesn't even have his legs on there. He missed the whole summer, so he was a major fade for me. Jacoby Myers, though, listen, before he went out, 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 6 catches for 66 yards. You all know I was worried about him as well. Not saying Jacoby Myers is going to be the top guy. It was just one of those games, but the shorter passing game, which is where Myers makes hay, jives better with what Jimmy Garoppolo brings to the table. I don't think there's any question. And the results, at least for today, kind of back it up. The running game for the Broncos, Javonte Williams, 13 carries, 52 yards. He looked rusty. Samaje Perine, 8 for 41. In terms of receiving, Perine, 4 catches for 37 yards. And Javonte Williams, only 4 for 5. So it was almost a 50-50 split. I think that's what it's going to be like for a while. Maybe Javonte Williams eventually gets 60-40, 65-35, maybe to that degree. But Samaje Perine's not going away. So if you're looking to try to buy low on Javonte Williams, just know that, and I still would because I like him a lot, just know that Samaje Perine is not going away. Cortland Sutton, 4 for 32 in the score. That's about as good as he's going to do. Marvin Mims, 2 for 9. So just, not a lot of fantasy helpful outings in this game. Las Vegas, we talked about Philadelphia. And, Los Angeles, Seattle. The biggest knockout murder scene today. The Rams scored 30 points without Cooper Kupp today. Unbelievable. Hey, listen, I got to hand it to Sean McVay. I didn't see this coming. Matthew Stafford didn't even throw a single touchdown pass. Geno Smith, 16 of 26, only 112 yards and a touchdown. Has he turned back to a pumpkin? I don't know. This was really bad. I mean, just really bad. Kyron Williams, 15 carries for 52 yards. He scores twice. All right? And he is the definition of a plotter. But Cam Akers, 22 carries for 29 yards. He scores, but averages 1.3. Like, you got to be shitting me. How do you average 1.3 in the NFL? And this is the same guy that tore it up the second half of last year? Oh, my God. Like, you got to be – I don't even know what to say about that. Kenneth Walker, 12 for 64. The average was good, but, he's not a factor in the passing game, even though he caught 4 passes for 3 yards. Zach Charbonnet didn't really do much of anything. DK Metcalf, 3 for 47 in the score. Tyler Lockett, only 2 for 10, which came on the first drive before he had a concussion scare. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 3 catches for 13 yards. Will Dissly, 2 catches for 17. Puka Nakau. Somebody asked me about him, and I totally disregarded him. Right here, and I always say this, I always admit when I'm wrong. I was completely wrong about this guy. 10 of 119, the rookie. Wow. I believe he's from BYU, if I remember correctly. I have to be honest with you. I wasn't watching this game. I had no idea he did this well. 10 catches for 119 yards. Like, holy crap. Coming out in his NFL debut. Like, this is Anquan Bolden stuff. When Anquan Bolden, second round pick in his debut, I think he caught 10 passes for like 150 yards for the Arizona Cardinals. Like, that was crazy. So Puka Nacua, or Nacua, however you say it, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. He's going to be a very popular waiver ad this week because we know Matthew Stafford loves to target, fixate on one guy. And that kid from BYU, that looks to be the guy. Like, I can't even believe that. Like, that's amazing to me that's how that went. All right. Somebody asked me about Survivor pick next week. It's early. Let me just take a quick look at that. Buffalo, Las Vegas, maybe Buffalo, Cincinnati, Detroit, Seattle. I'm not going to bother with that game because I think Seattle's going to have a better game next week. Tampa Bay, Chicago, no. Jacksonville, Kansas City, no. Indianapolis, Houston, no. Los Angeles, San Francisco. I mean, I can't see the Rams being San Francisco. I would probably have to say San Francisco. The Giants, maybe. Dallas, New York, no. Denver, Washington, no. New England, Miami, no. Because it's always, you never go against Bill Belichick. So I would say right off the bat, probably San Francisco or Giants. Giants over Arizona, probably. That's how I would probably look at that. Anyway, so yeah, guys, lots of craziness today. It was a profitable week with my picks, 3 and 2. I hope you guys made some money off of them. I'll be doing picks again next week, like always. I'll officially give you my Survivor pool pick tomorrow, Monday. Not sure if there's going to be a stream tomorrow. I do have a late practice, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have a stream tomorrow. But certainly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday probably will be the stream schedule this week. So I'm going to sign off now because my Giants, here we go. They're going to be coming on soon. Hope they get it done against Dallas tonight. I have a good feeling about it. I need a big game from Darren Waller. No freaking snap count or anything like that. First TD tonight, yes. I would love to see that. Guys, have a great night. Singletary is a drop, yes. Have a great night, guys. It was fun today. Hopefully you won your matchups, and we will chat tomorrow, guys. Have a great evening.